So we're at the end of this future echo. A month living in the town where we're going to live before we live there.
Yes. And in that month, we have found a home here.
Yeah. I'm so happy we're not leaving here without having found a home and got a home. That feels like a real blessing, like I feel looked after in that way. It feels completely different. I can't imagine driving to Hampshire and looking on the property market up here and wanting to get here at a drop of a hat because the market's so fast. And I think I really would have felt displaced, whereas we've been able. Did we know that offer had been accepted before we even arrived here in Pitlochry for this month? I think it didn't happen. Yeah, it happened in Longniddry.
Yeah. So we've been in Scotland for 3 months.
Yeah.
But in Pitlochry for this last month. And so all of that happened whilst in Scotland. A lot happened whilst we've been in Scotland.
Yeah, it's been epic, hasn't it?
Oof. Yeah. Yeah, it's been big.
And it's been winter. I really feel like we wintered here.
Yeah, but beautifully so. I think this was, I don't want to exaggerate, but this might have been...
A million.
This is big. This might have been, I want to not say the only or the first, but I've really enjoyed this winter. And I know for me, winter is usually a time that I kind of wish to be over because it's cold and I just can't warm up. But the beauty of winter here has been so good for me. Like, you know, seeing this place change in the snow and even the grey days. Yeah. There haven't been many of them actually.
I kind of feel, because the land is so, it's that beautiful brown purple colour. Even the grey days feel very colourful here. I'm so smiling because you're like, I'm remembering what you've been through this winter, and I thought you were going to say it was really challenging, and you know, it's really been a wholesome winter. Like, I feel like we've navigated a lot, and it's also been very calming and quiet and peaceful at the same time. I think life here is going to be like that. I think it's going to be epic, but in a kind of winter sunrise way, not a busyness way.
It feels like being on a really sturdy ship in very choppy waters. So, because the waters have been big and the waves have been huge health-wise. It's been very challenging. And
buying a
house and, you know, like juggling this big change. But yeah, I just feel I just had this vision right now of being on a big sturdy ship, like an old like wooden one, you know. And yeah, we're like, the waters are what they are and you still have to respect them very much and you still have to steer and you still have to be ready and all of that, but it's a good vessel.
What is that? What is the ship?
I think it's this place. It's because this place, even though it's not a familiar place in many ways, I have felt so held here through all the big waves and choppy waters. And just from a super practical point of view, like from a health point of view, just the process that happened, how incredibly well looked after I've been, how quickly I've been seen and referred. And so this place has really held me and us through some big waves.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Definitely deeply in that terrain where you smile at amazing things that happen, because not with arrogance, you just like, you find yourself close to that space of possibility and open to these kind of, oh wow, that's amazing that happened, but I'm not shocked that you've been so well looked after. There's almost like we've had lots of these experiences as we travel. It's like feeling held by the ground, feeling held by relationships, feeling held by so much. And there have been so many examples where I could say I felt really looked after in that moment. Like that trip when you went to A&E, but my overwhelming experience of it was feeling held. And I mean, of all of the random Airbnbs to rent in Pitlochry, we chose this one, and they've become such good friends already. And there's a holding in that, a holding in knowing some people in this place we're moving to, and like the care that comes with that. And I'm smiling because we put an offer in on a house and we will own it. And that's, what was it, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
The whole process?
Yeah.
I think the universe says yes.
Yeah.
It says, yeah, carry on, you two.
Yeah. Stop and carry on, because we're stopping here. But I feel that holding is wider and stretches further than just here, and of course it does. But we've been talking about, wow, there are so many different things going on at the moment, the variety of, even just like projects and like relationships, and then, the things that are developing. It's very varied, and it stretches in this direction and that direction and this direction. And maybe that's what the sturdiness of a web feels like, because it goes in lots of directions, but there's a center. And I've just really been feeling wow, like so many different things are going on, but they all feel really like knitted together. And so maybe that's even a broader net, literally, because I do feel that there is this expansive net. And that doesn't mean everything goes right. It just means maybe there are enough strands.
Yeah.
So if one, don't
put all of your weight.
If one breaks, maybe they're just these beautiful strands. And yeah, that's really a big feeling, because I was just thinking it's not this place is relatively new in our lives, and I was like, oh, it's not just this place. This is a strand, of this net or this web that feels very holding.
Yeah, I think the whole thing, to me, I kind of like sitting back and just watching magic happen. The whole thing, the way in which we encountered this space, our relationship with it since then, everything is just, I'm just like really trusting. And maybe when it's just you simply are in that space of trust, it feels really secure. And so I'm also trusting, because I know we would both, my logic brain would be, hang on a minute, you're leaving Pitlochry on Wednesday, the house will go through the following week, and you're leaving and you won't be back for weeks.
I know.
And my logic brain is like, that's ridiculous, make a different plan. But my heart is just trusting that, no, it's right that we're now moving, and this weekend we'll be in Hampshire, and we won't be back here till, we'll be well into spring.
Yeah, April, mid-April.
because we have some more adventuring to do. And this beautiful trip that we've been on, it needs to live out its end.
But we're literally traveling, so we're in Scotland now, we're traveling to where it all began, in the southeast.
I love it.
And then driving back here, so it's full circle, right? So we'll have time to kind of honor that, and because we are going back there,
yeah,
and we can spend some time feeling into that start and remembering that and thanking that, and then leaving from there knowing exactly where we're going.
Yeah.
Whereas when we left from there, we didn't know.
Yeah.
And now we can look back, and there's like a shape to it, and we can really see it.
I've been going through all the photos, and there's something about feeling that, like, now that the ride is coming to an end, there's a finite number of photos that are going to be taken, and they feel, yeah, it feels like it's that time for really, I don't know, like a gathering of those things, or celebrating.
A photo album.
A photo, I know. Hang on, I have an idea.
I have an idea.
There's a vessel. But yeah, I'm really kind of feeling that. I can feel the flow and the fluidity and the not knowing of the ride we've been on, but now it's coming to an end. So now it's, in terms of the trip, it's looking back and remembering.
Yeah.
And you're right, I love that it's a circle. And that Martin, that house sit, that was the very, very first potential house sit we went to visit. But when we were thinking, I don't know if this house sitting thing is right, and I was so I remember the attitude that we arrived at his house with, which was, you know, this is so strange, we're going to go and meet this person and their dogs, and I don't know, will we house sit here, and what will that be like? And he was just so instantly friendly.
And that's what we're going
that was
back
that.
to. Yeah, and so we're going back to exactly that, doing a 7-week, like, farewell sit in a way.
It's a farewell tour.
What it feels like to me. Yeah.
I love that Bertie will be our last house sit dog. He's one of my favourites.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah. And also I wonder what it will feel like to, from that place, like the starting point, basically, because that, you know, being back down south, back to exactly the very first house and energy we experienced, about, you know, in terms of house sitting. So we're going back there, but the view energetically that we have from there now is towards this end, in inverted commas, I'm saying end, and like how that would feel, because also it's not the end that maybe we had in mind or we visualized. It's quite different. So it's a different shape, but it's got all the same colors, but it's a completely different shape. So we set this intention when we started, and we didn't quite know what shape it was going to be, but yes, we would like to find space, and we would like to do retreat center type work. We would like outside space. We would like to invite groups for this work. We'd like to work with the land, work on healing, and we thought we needed to own all of that. We must have a retreat center space which has accommodation for enough people, which, you know, has enough space to hold circle. And here we are in essentially a retreat town.
I know.
It's got all of it, but we don't have to own it. It's kind of what this place does. It offers land, it offers space, it's got stone circles everywhere. It's got accommodation of every level. And I'm just like, wow,
Yeah, it's bigger and smaller.
It's bigger.
Like, I love that our job is simply to do the work instead of figure out, you know, how to make effectively accommodation work.
Yeah.
And I also, being here and seeing it with those eyes, like actually all of the super magical places, the land, the best, if you like, the most amazing spaces, they're public spaces. You don't get to own. There's public access. You really, and I don't know, it's just, I'm smiling. You know, the other thing about heading south now for this ending is, do you remember I said I want to write a love letter to the A286, that beautiful road through the South Downs? Because when we were walking the South Downs way, like, I really thought that might be where our journey ended. Like, really, where around where Martin's house is.
Yeah.
It's the kind of beautiful part of Sussex if you were looking for land and space. It's where I really felt big energy, and I love that road, that drive from my parents to Brighton.
It's beautiful.
And you know, now I love the A9. But yeah, I kind of, it's like we say in the storytelling, it's like we're not creating the story, we're just putting it together. It's like this beautiful story arc that is not ours in the making.
But you've just said you had this, you know, kind of feeling that that would be the area in the south where it ends. That is where we're going back to
Well,
say
yeah.
goodbye. So to kind of honor the ending of just a part of this journey. We're not, you know, the journey's not over, but this part of it, this part of being on the road and house sitting, and that's the bit that's ending. But the next bit is
different.
It's there, but it's still a journey. I feel like there's for me, a big journey waiting here in these hills and these mountains, and I'm really, really excited to hear what it says, to listen to this place we're in. I feel that I can be quiet enough here to hear, like the trees and the mountains and the river, and like this place gives me a quiet that is very, very good for me. And I'm like, oh, what might I hear when I'm more quiet? And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, we were always, I guess, the trip in some ways was always about the end. It's like, how do you arrive somewhere that you can't imagine, but you know you need to step into? You kind of have to go on an adventure, step into nothing and see where it ends up. And there is no other route whereby you and I end up exactly, you know, exactly where the end is going to be for us, other than that process. So it's kind of, in a way, all been about this.
Yeah.
And I think so it's it's endings, beginnings, but I really feel it's going to take a long time to, I wonder what it's going to be like to genuinely look back on the trip. I think I'll miss it. You know, the other day, because we were here for 3 weeks, and then I love it here, it's where we're choosing to be, but I was like, oh, it's time to move on. Like, I have this internal clock that for the last 18 months plus has been moving every month. And I was like, oh, it's time to go and on to the next. And that clock was right. It is time to leave here. bit concerned how that might play out when we're not. I'd be like, what do you mean we're here for? How many weeks are we here for? What do you mean we're not counting in weeks anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's been an ease of traveling too that I've been really grateful for, and an ease in us, which like that was a beautiful discovery.
Yeah, it's been really, it has suited us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I absolutely don't think that we're going to stop journeying and stop traveling. We're just doing it from one place. So, you know, this is our home, this is our base. But I'm absolutely certain we're still going to travel and journey. Like, I'm 100% certain.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll still be in a flow.
Yeah.
But, we pay council tax.
Yeah. And the 17 boxes will be unpacked.
Oh my God.
Although we might still, just live out of them for a while.
We're going to have 150 boxes. Like, I think the explosion of stuff in our lives is going to be quite glorious and terrifying.
Yeah, like not having seen all the stuff that's in storage, I think that we might be a bit overwhelmed when it's all in one place.
Yeah. Well, especially because we've actually chosen a very small house.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
But honestly, the only thing I've missed is the sofa.
I've missed more of a variety of clothing.
Yeah.
I am excited for everything to be in one place and unpacked, and I think there'll be a process of, becoming lighter with everything we have too.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, definitely, I think for me the beautiful surprise is how we've ended up, what shape it is. We've got a small house in a big place that welcomes so many, and the land is big here, and the walks are inviting, and the place is inviting to people. So I'm curious to see how we do exactly that retreat work. And somehow I think it's going to be with ease, invitation, community, beautiful surroundings.
I'm so excited to invite people here. Like, and when I say people, I mean our people and people we haven't met, the work. I can't imagine anyone will drive or get the train here and be like, so why did you choose this place?
Maybe it's not, maybe some people, maybe it's not their cup of tea, but yeah, but that's an experience too, isn't it? So
yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to be like open about leaving, and I know it's beautiful to go back down south exactly to where everything started, but there is also a part of me is like, I don't want to go. And I'm just honoring that part as well, to say, yep, I hear you as well. And that's allowed to feel like that. So yeah, I can definitely feel that.
Yeah, I'd love to watch this place transform into spring.
Yep.
Instead, we're going to come back, like we're looking out now, and it's browns and purples, and when we come back, it's going to be green. And we won't have witnessed the change.
Oh, we'll have many seasons here.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope the next few weeks are not, because there's all these practical things. And I guess I'm curious about, I feel like part of this traveling has been making space for the things that aren't practical but are rightly kind of honoured and celebrated, and I'm just curious about how do we do that? How do we have an ending? What is that? What are the ingredients? And how do we balance that with, you know, there are just lots of practical.
Yeah, I think the truth of it is there will just be many ingredients, and you know, it would be all of it. The essential ingredients, you know, your salt, your pepper, and then your luxury ingredients, and your so there'll be, yeah, it's just going to be a lot of it, and it's not going to be one thing, and not everything's going to be practical, and not everything's going to be beautifully energetic. It's going to be all of it.
Yeah.
Because it requires all of it. We've got to be practical, but also, you know, keep centered and like see the bigness of it, whilst also really making sure the spreadsheet is well looked after.
It's totally your department.
Love it.
Yeah. I just feel full of stories. Stories looking back, and I can feel the stories ahead, and I feel like we're just in, it's a very beautiful future echo, like forward and back, and I feel really balanced, and yeah, balanced in both.
Very grateful.